Hey, what's going on, guys? Tim Loy here, and it is the 0 Hour 16th episode and our special year-end edition. We're going to have some fun with it here today, guys. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday, a Merry Christmas and all that last week. I know that we did here in the Loy stead. We got Jeff Hobbs in the house today, Justin Watson, Greg Hopkins. Jeff, how was your Christmas? I hear that you are you're trucking through today with a little bit of
Yes.
the Omicron.
The vid, baby. Yep. Woke up feeling like straight poo this morning. Took a rapid test and swear to God, you're supposed to wait 15 minutes. That son of a bitch was screaming at me at 60 seconds in after putting the Q-tip in there, man. So there was no faint line. I'm pregnant as hell, it said. But it is what it is. Definitely just cold-like symptoms. Got the new guidelines in, so I'll be good right in time for the show next week. That way, as long as I keep everything cool, man. But yeah, other than that, it's been a great break. Obviously, in my industry, education, get good 2 weeks off of work. So I've had some fun with it. I had the Titans game last week. Surrounded by the holidays and Christmas. So
COVID.
COVID. Fuck it. It's so much of not a big deal anymore either. It's just like, I got it. So what's for dinner? It's not a big deal. So,
Greg, my man, you have managed to stay healthy, I imagine, through this holiday season. How was the Christmas down in the neck of the Hopkins Woods? And, we're sports guys, so, they've just changed the guidelines where I think it's just to benefit the NFL and the NBA, honestly. But you don't need 10 days of quarantine now if you got COVID, only 6 days. It gets Jeff back in action just in time.
Well, thank God it's just 6 days now. We got to enjoy all the holidays, and I got to watch all the sports and everything. However, everybody else in my family ended up getting the flu. Everybody got it. I didn't get it, thank God. So I was knocking on wood. I didn't even say they all tested positive, but for some reason I lucked out. I don't know. So let's just keep me healthy because I don't want to miss out on that card on the 7th. I don't want to miss that at all.
Don't make me sick, man.
Don't make me sick.
Justin Watson rounding out the crew tonight. Justin, how's it going, man? How was the holiday seasons for yourself and yours? And also, you got to check out that Titans game there in the breeding ground of the Omicron in Nashville.
Yeah, I don't think it got me. I feel fine. So fingers crossed.
Stand by, buddy.
I was hanging out with Jeff quite a bit, so we'll see.
He was right in that petri dish with me.
I might need to go get me a rapid test. No, it was good, man. A lot of traveling. My holidays are always a lot of traveling. But in North Carolina now for the week and enjoying the kid and just some family time.
We are UFC-less this week, so it is a bit of a retrospective episode. We're going to look back at 2021, look ahead at 2022 more so. Before we do that, we need everybody out there to give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get an alert every time we put new material out. We're going to have lots of interviews coming up here on the site over the next couple of days. We're going to talk to Dreon Martin a little bit tonight. That'll be up separately. We're going to talk to Sam McAlpin tonight. That'll be fun. That'll be up separately as well, so make sure you subscribe and you can get alerted every time we put some new shit up here on the 0 Hour. If you would follow us as well on our social media, Facebook and Instagram, that would help us keep growing the brand out there. That's what we're trying to do, y'all. Greg, we got a special shout out to our sponsor, though, don't we? Of course, we're brought to you by Action 24/7, and they're going to have some odds. I already kind of have a little insight on what those odds are going to be next week. Greg, tell them about the deal, though, they can get.
Guys, if you go over to action247.com, you can sign up and get a special 100% bonus match code for $800. And I know it's legit because I put mine on there and I lost $1,000 last week. And I've literally got 600 more to work with. So, guys, the Action 24/7 will get you on there. Like you said, Trevor Peak, David Robbins will be on there. You'll have Pat. You'll be able to, and I'm not so sure if we'll be able to parlay them, but either way, you can put however much money you want on Trevor Peak, however much money you want on David Robbins. I do know that there will be an under and over. I know we can't say what it is, but I'm excited. And if you make your bonus, you can make some money that week. We don't know who's going to win, though. Sorry, can't tell you that.
Of course, we'll get into that full preview of that card next week, and I'm anticipating having the betting odds for our episode next week, so we should be able to kind of break down those fights with those odds in mind, and that'll be a lot of fun. Let's jump into it, guys. Of course, today's going to be kind of just a roundtable discussion. We're gonna kind of bat it around here and talk shop about several different categories, if you will, that will just kind of give a little bit of shine to some of these guys that are out here busting their ass for you guys' entertainment. Started off, y'all, with 2021's Breakout Fighter, who in 2021 really kind of elevated themselves, really made it their year, really kind of took the ball and ran with it, had a breakout year, and is ready for a huge 22. Justin, I'm gonna toss it your way first. Who stood out to you 2021? And let me preface this. This doesn't just have to be from airy shows. If there's somebody down in Alabama, there's somebody down in Georgia, just the Southeast region is pretty much our audience here. And, we'll give some shout outs where they're due. Justin, I'll let you lead.
Yeah, so I had a few things written down for each one of these, just in case somebody else stole mine to start it off. So I'm going to go with Vincent Van Osten coming in 2-0. In that 125-pound division, it's not very deep. He's been super dominant over both guys that he's fought so far, super tough. So I think as far as somebody coming onto the scene and really putting a stamp in their division. Only 2 fights, but it's a small enough division where just a couple fights kind of puts you on the scene there. So Vincent takes my spot for Breakout Fighter of the Year.
I like it. Vincent came in and got his debut win over a guy in Ray Hewlett that had a lot more experience. Just so many more fights, and he got him out of there real quick in the first round, and then took on another tough guy, and Cody Ortiz got him out of there a little bit later, but still displayed a well-rounded skill set, and definitely is one to watch at 125. I think moving on into this next year, he kind of come out and put his stamp on that division early. Greg, how about yourself? Who's the guy in 2021 that really kind of stood out to you?
I'm not being too biased here, but I got to go with a couple of teammates, man. But Breven Sullivan has kind of brought a new flavor to 2021. He is a taste. He may be an acquired taste, but he is still a taste. You may not like him, you may like him, but if he's fighting, you're going to watch him. So I got to say, Breven's my front runner for breakout of 2021 because he's going to be coming in 22 too hot. Zane Burton also had a pretty decent year. He was 2-0 MMA, 1-0 in Muay Thai. He was one that was on the list. I'd like, and he's on down the list again later on the list of things we got to talk about, and I'll talk more about. But those are 2 of the guys that I'm looking at. Austin was definitely on my radar, but I got to see him fight more than once every 7 months or something like that. I just got to see him. I got to see him be active, man. Because that guy. I mean, had he fought one more time, he takes it. He takes over Breven. He takes it. He's my top pick of the year for 2021 standout. But he's just got to be more active. And why not? At 125, you can clean house down there, and Austin can do it. But yeah, sorry, but yeah, those are my 2.
Before I go to Jeff, I'll kind of throw in my 2 cents here. Switching over to the pros, a guy that we haven't talked about a lot here lately, but I know that we're going to be talking about him early in the spring when he'll be fighting with us, and that is a young man named Robbie Ring, who is he's undefeated. He is 3-0 as a pro. Actually, never been beaten as an amateur either. Young gun, very very young man still, and just a world of potential. A guy that I could see. Maybe falling into a few of these other categories as we get to talking a little bit later here. But Robbie Ring's a guy that I've been super impressed with this year. And honestly, I'll give some shout out, some love to half our main event here in Trevor Peak, who's had a good year too. Coming off a win over Ben Brewer, who had a whole lot more experience than him, and so that's already showed. Trevor's willing to step out there and fight guys, with bigger records, and he's getting them out of there. All finishes. So I've got to give some love to Trevor Peak out there as well. One more. I'm gonna give you one more before I toss it over to Jeff, and that's my man Justin Jamar. That's a guy that has really kind of put his stamp on this year. I don't think he's lost this year. I could be mistaken, but I don't think he's lost. And most of his wins have been in very violent fashion over tough dudes. So Justin Jamar is another guy that's really kind of, exploded onto the radar, I think, in 2021. Jeff, wrap us up for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I could go the same route and do the homer thing, and I won't. But like you guys, there's a lot of guys that were in consideration, for this for me. But I won't even drop their names because they are going to fit in, further down this conversation. Jamar was one that I thought about. Great year. But for me, man, it's none other than our own Torres Finney.
Hey, gotta love that one. So, I mean, what I looked at, one was, like Greg was saying, the frequency that they fought. I'm stealing a little bit of 2020 because from October 20 to October 2021, Torres fought 5 times. So 4 times in 2021. In a calendar year, October to October, 5 times. We've seen him basically go through his entire amateur career. We're fixing to see him make his professional debut. If you look at his record, no one he fought at the time that he fought them had a losing record. We had his debut was against a debut. His second fight against a 3-0, a 1-0, 6-2, a 1-1 at the time. So my breakout for our region, and when you add the charismaticness of it, his local following in his region, in his area, mine's Torres Finney for my breakout star. Hey, I like that one a lot. Not just in the cage. Torres is really kind of taken off in the color commentary role as well. So he's kind of showing he's a multifaceted athlete out there, can do more than just get in the cage and fight. We'll do one more for 2021 before we turn over to look ahead at 2022. What is, I'd like to go around the horn again here, and who would you say the best new blood on the scene? Who are some of the best new blood fighters, new teams on the scene that we've seen in 2021 that have just kind of, burst out there out of nowhere? I'll start here on this one, and I'll kind of tail Justin on this one. That Hobbs Jackson Wink team has been very, very good this year. They really just kind of came out of nowhere, to tell you the truth. And I know they had been in existence before 2021, but it seems like they really just kind of started, getting out there, fighting fairly regular in 2021. A lot of good young talent, and they've lost more than they've won several more than they've lost, for sure. That would kind of be my group that I would say was like the new breakout group on the scene. Greg, I'll go to you.
Well, see, when we were talking about new blood and new teams, I'm throwing a curveball here, and I'm kind of like, shedding a little light on the actual fighters of it. But I was going to talk about the sponsors that we have coming in with Aries and stuff. These guys right here, because literally without them, like, it would be hard to put on these shows that we do. And just to speak of them, we just talked about them, Action 24/7. Man, they're bringing a whole new breed of people to the fights. A bunch of degenerates that are a little bit more intimate and interested in fights, because when you're putting your money on the line, you got a little bit more to lose on a fighter, a little bit more to win too, and it becomes a little bit more intimate. So you want to get to know these fighters. Shit, you may even pull up a sponsor from somebody who bet $1,000 on you to win. Hey man, I'm gonna throw you $200 for winning that fight. Something like that could very well happen. It brings a lot of eyes to the sport. It does a lot for the fighters. It does a lot for the promotion. So mine is not just like Action 24/7, but all these guys that are pitching in. The Hemp House, Surface Seal, on the backdrop back there. In Knoxville Mortgage Brokers, we got all these guys. Tim, you can name off the few that I've already lined up for 2020, 2022, and they're coming out for 20. So that was my new bloodline right there, man. And just without all those guys, it wouldn't be. And it's bringing a whole lot more action to the scene, and I'm excited for it.
Definitely love our new sponsors for sure. That makes everybody's life a lot better. Jeff, what you got?
I knew it was going to happen, so just go ahead and get in. Just doubling up on somebody else's. Hobbs Jackson Wink was mine as well. When you look at the run that we personally saw from them, that undefeated run for quite a few shows, who all did we have, man? Besides Austin, Cody Noel,
Josiah Newton,
all these guys. We went on, what was it, 7 or 8 fights straight. from that team before they saw their first, their first loss. So I don't know how we can. I just personally, I couldn't give it to any other kind of, like you said, they're not new, but as far as bursting on the scene, honing their skills before they all came out and decided to show the world, what they were all about. They just kind of, burst out of nowhere on the scene. So I see big things coming from that, Jim.
Justin, any input here?
Oh yeah, just kind of following that, like you guys said about Hobbs. There's a lot more coming from those guys. They've been starting them out young, making sure that they're definitely ready to get in there before they ever let them jump in there and compete. So you'll see more things coming from them for sure. Also, another team that for me, I've been around for a while, and this team has been around too, but just really broke onto my radar this year was Rocket City with Justin Jamar. They've got Justin Abner, a couple other guys that if you see you're going to fight somebody from Rocket City, your ass is about to fight. So they come, they bring it every time. So that's a team that I really look forward to seeing every time we fight.
I'll give an honorable mention to Team Chaos. Team Chaos out of Ohio is a group that, they've had guys kind of come through sporadically over the years, but I felt like this was the year when they really kind of started, putting a stamp on it between, some of these guys like Samaj Portis, Josh Delgadillo. I mean, these guys really came in and upset the apple cart a few times and got some gold while they were at it. So give those guys a shout out too. One more category, 2021, before we move on to 2022. Top performance. Not saying that this is a breakout star. I'm saying, like, what was one of the top performances you remember from a particular fight? Somebody that really just put on a great effort out there, to come out with a big win. I'll start us off here, and I'm going to go with Emilio Hernandez, Alex Hernandez. He's a guy that he could also be considered a breakout star, if you will, but just the level of competition that he has immediately jumped out there and had to fight in 3 fights. Dustin Garrett, Carrington Johnson, and then Josh Delgadillo. Those are all 3 pretty tough guys, and he's gotten them all out of there. He's finished them all. Only one made it to the second round. So I'm going to say the performance of the year goes to Emilio Hernandez. Jeff, I'll let you go next.
No, it's okay. I can't now.
Was that really yours? Shit.
Yeah, you took mine.
That sucks.
That was me. But it's okay. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. We can agree.
Yeah, hell yeah. There's no rule that says if anything, that shows you how strong that choice was if it was on somebody else's mind as well. Agree 100%. We got lucky because I know his debut, you never thought you would find him an opponent, and we did. He's been easier to match than he has other black belts that we were trying to match before for some crazy reason. But yeah, he's only been in there in high level fights. The adversity that he went through in the Carrington fight, the adversity he went through in his title fight for the Underground, just shows he's not just a one-trick pony, flash in the pan kind of guy. I'll be interested. He kind of falls in with some of my other answers later on today, but the big question of 2022 is going to be how much does MMA mean to Emilio Hernandez? I don't think he would disagree with me, and I think he would be proud to say MMA comes second to him. This MMA is a sloppy second, distant cousin to BJJ. That is his first love. That is his first priority. You know that as a matchmaker, Tim, because we're always having to,
sweat
every weekend. Right? Yeah, every weekend we're having to sweat him competing every weekend, and what's going to be, hurt or tweaked or twisted come Monday, and him not knowing if he's going to be able to compete. So who knows how long he's going to stay amateur? Who knows if he's going to jump to the pros? And it may just come down to, with MMA kind of being a second fiddle to BJJ, it may not be as important to him to go pro because it's not his focus as much as his continued journey through, BJJ. So he's also a big question mark for me for 2022 is where does Emilio Hernandez go and what does he do next?
I'm going to take, I feel like we only saw this guy maybe fight once this year, but in that fight, the one that sticks out to me is Alex Burgande, Bronson Bazorgi. Obviously
that's a good one. Real good.
How good Alex is, and but Bronson is a tough cat that comes to fight every time. He's durable, and Alex Burgande just lit him on fire, man. Just tore him to pieces, knocked him out, put him to sleep on his feet a couple times, and then snoozed him, left him sleeping for a little while, snoring. So now we get to see him go pro next year, and that takes my performance of 2021.
Greg, round us out.
I got a few things I want to mention. Just kind of an honorable mention thing here. Savon Canto and Tristan Kelly and Aries. That fight was killer.
Great.
Two zombies fighting each other. Casey Daniels and Quentin Milton right there. I think they were back to back. Both of those fights. Hard to. It's a shame they were both on the same card. With that being said, I guess my 2021 kind of breakout star. I got two of them. I would like to just give a mention out to Arthur Cisse, man, because the guy went on bare knuckle fight and he went out down there in guy's hometown, took him out and won, and collected that bag, secured it. Real happy for that man doing what he's doing. Secondly, Cody Durden out of Atlanta, man. Dude has come a long way from where he was, and I can't say enough about Cody, but I'm not sure if this falls into the category of 2020 a little bit. But I know that he had that injury. He fought back from that torn ACL, I believe it was, or MCL, one of the two. Come back, got his first victory over, I think it was China's #1 fighter over there, 135 or 125 even it was. And, so, I mean, in my opinion, Cody's the #1 fighter in China right now. And so he's a standout for me.
All right, guys, let's look ahead a little bit to next year. 2022 should be a good year. Should be a big year. We've got a lot of big things going on. Who are some of the potential breakout stars that you guys could see? Maybe that this year they kind of started to surface, and next year you kind of think they're really going to take off. That's going to be their year. I'll start us off here, and I'm going to go with our current 170 champ, and that's Dustin Bailey. I think that this next year is going to be potentially a really big year for him. I would assume, he'll have his eyes on going pro. First, he's got to get past Richard Guerrero, which is going to be a tough hurdle here on February the 4th, so you can't look past that. But I've been very impressed with Dustin Bailey, and and he can also talk on the mic. I mean, he did commentary for us in Nashville. He's kind of a well-rounded guy, and he's got the rough and rowdy thing going too. So, I'm gonna say Dustin Bailey's the guy that I've kind of got my eyes on to really break out next year. And another guy that I think that would fit the bill here is someone that I spoke earlier about, Robbie Ring. I think at 3-0, he's a guy that if he can stay busy in 2022 and run his record up to 6-0, 7-0, something like that, at 135, you're going to see him starting to get some opportunities. Greg, we'll go to you.
Potential breakout star for 2022 is what we're talking about right here. Man, that's hard to say, especially when we're talking about the whole southeastern region of fights, dude. I'm telling you right now, and then we're going off, but I think old Big Tuna, I think he's got a lot coming up. I think he's got a big fight coming up in Bellator here soon. We don't know who the opponent is or whatnot yet, but whenever it's revealed and he goes up there and knocks the dude out, it's just going to be I think he's got a lot on the horizon for him. He's going to do well for his family. So, Ben Parrish.
He's a good character out there too. I think people just naturally kind of gravitate to cheering for the guy because he's so unassuming. But man, dude could bang for sure. Jeff.
Yeah, oddly enough, I do have Tuna down as well, but I had him combined with just the Weibel duo of Jaleel Willis and Ben Parrish. Just together, those two as management teammates have really kind of just stepped things up. Jaleel real quietly too. He has grinded it out for years and has solidified himself as a part of that Bellator roster, not just someone who came in, for a fight against a big name and the promotion didn't care whether he won or lost. He was signed. He came in not as a last-minute fill-in. Still, I don't think a lot of people probably gave him the credit that he would still be around at this point and still grinding out wins. So those two as a duo was on my list. Somebody we already talked about. I think Emilio Hernandez has the opportunity to be a breakout, star as well, and someone I've already talked about as well, Torres Finney. I think has that opportunity. If him getting his pro debut so early in 2022, if he can get 2, 3, maybe 4 fights in a year's time, I think he's somebody you could see because of his charisma, his look, his mic skills, get an opportunity probably quicker than others would with the same record. So I think he has the potential of really breaking out. And another breakout star that I want to make sure is a star this year is Torres's grandmother. Again, let's see, I'm getting messages from her when I feel bad. I find out that Grandma Finney wants to make sure that I feel good. So we're going to make sure that she's a star this year, all right?
Top fan.
That's right. Top fan right there. Watches every episode. And that week that I had to take off, she was concerned about me.
Hey, we all were, man. Before I go to Justin, I want to just slide one more in here. And like, I think the last time he was supposed to fight, there were some things that happened where he didn't get to fight. But Ronnie Lawrence in the UFC, I think this could be a big year for him. It's obviously that the brass is high on him, which is everything. The fact that Dana is high on him and they want to see him, they want to push him. This is going to be a big year for Ronnie Lawrence, I think, as long as he gets his weight situation under control. I think that was the problem this last time. Not something you typically hear about with him, though. So I think that's a big year for him coming up. Justin, round us out here.
Kind of to follow the same, big league, this kind of region. I think Bryce Mitchell is one that you're going to see really break out into. I mean, Bryce is already becoming a star, but I think this year he could potentially break into the top 5.
That mixtape was fire.
Yeah, dude. He's a bad man. More regionally, I wrote down a couple. Breven Sullivan as an amateur, like we talked about, just the marketability. He's out there pushing himself, marketing himself. Not afraid to talk and get on the mic, and then he can fight his ass off. So Breven, and then another one that I mentioned earlier, Alex Brigante going pro this year. And, another young phenom who it's going to be hard to get fights for him. I would imagine after a couple of pro fights, there's not going to be many guys looking to fight him. And especially, once he's 2-3-0, it's gonna be hard to find guys that are going to want to give him a chance because he's so dangerous. But I think that he's a guy that we can see explode next year.
Let's shift it to a little broader scope. What's a gym that you guys see on the rise that you think next year could be their year where they start, elevating themselves into more pros and more main events and more title fights and that type of thing? What's a gym that you guys have seen that is starting to elevate and it's starting to really, turn some heads? Justin, I'll let you start this time.
I got to take Agogi. We've seen them over the past couple of years just slowly building their roster to where now they've got, one of the biggest staples in the region of active fighters, mostly amateurs right now, but tons of guys that are just right there on the verge that could go pro, at any time with a win or two. And then they have, 3 top level, regionally top level pros there already. So I see big things coming from that gym for sure.
Jeff?
Mine is twofold. Mine is Agogi and Nashville MMA. I don't think
I like
people.
both. I was going to say Nashville MMA.
I don't think anybody realizes both of these gyms. If you went to the first underground, you saw the backside of the new, gym, but you haven't got to see the new facility like I have a couple of weeks ago when I went and visited. The change is amazing, and then you see what Agogi is just, cut the ribbon on. These aren't gyms anymore. These are compounds. These are combat sport facilities now. 2 of them in our state, which are just extraordinarily huge one-stop shops for all things combat sports. They're both almost kind of modeled, exactly the same. Not just combat sports, but the beginning stages of combat sports, both, getting into amateur wrestling programs, things like that. I went into Nashville MMA, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. They have field turf in there lined off with football lines. They have batting cages. So where other sports can come and use their facility to hone their skills in other sports. So I think, and then on top of that, you look at the rosters and the clientels they have again with, Torres, you look at Alexander, Pergande, Sullivan. You look at all these guys that they've got, all of them are on that verge of, doing big things and getting on a big show. They actually have, teams, and structure that makes a gym and team successful. So those 2 gyms right there are going to, in my opinion, 2022 is going to, a lot of big things are going to come out of those two facilities.
Well said. I think that really couldn't say any better. Those. I don't think there's any arguing. Those are the top two facilities in the area in between Middle and East Tennessee. I can't speak on West Tennessee, but there would have to be something really nice out there to trump those. Just really state of the art, very modern facilities, great instruction, great teams. Really on the rise there. Greg, I'll let you round us out here.
I mean, I really can't top the two, Nashville and Agoge, because we've even have Colby Covington coming to Agoge saying, hell, this gym's nicer than our gym down there, in Florida, and then you have, Michael Chandler over there at National MMA, and then now you guys have moved facilities, and I've seen that. It's fucking huge, man. It's so big, and it's so nice. Mine's kind of a sleeper, and it's not no guarantee that they will jump into the MMA realm, but Triangle Academy of Jiu-Jitsu in Nashville with Clay Mayfield. I know that those guys are a super duper tough judo, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. They got it all right there. And I don't know if they're looking to incorporate MMA, but I know there's been a few of those guys for the last year or so say they're wanting to fight. And I'm not saying they're going to, but I know that that's something they're talking about. And if they do, they're going to be a force to reckon with, because those kids are tough, man. Like, all of them, every single one of those guys at that gym are tough. So if they step on the scene in 2022, none of them are going to be coming soft. I'm telling you.
That could be one of those you heard it here first calls right there.
Hey, I like it, man.
I hope, man. I hope they step. I'm not saying for me. I'm just saying, like, if those guys, those are some tough dudes, some tough guys, man, I'm ready to see them.
All right. Most anticipated pro debuts, guys. Who's somebody that in 2022 that you anticipate will go pro, and that there's a level of excitement about that pro debut? I think the low-hanging fruit here is Torres Finney. That the numbers don't lie about that. If you look at Torres' sales report for his pro debut, it'll tell you that there's a lot of people excited about it, which makes me excited about it. But I think Torres' pro debut is obviously going to be a big one. Jeff, I'll let you kick us off here. And is it now that I've taken the easy one away from everyone?
That's true. I mean, that one was going to definitely be in, and we've talked about them both, Torres and Pergande. We know Pergande, his management's reached out. He's hoping to make that pro debut, knock on wood, hopefully April in Chattanooga is what his wishes are. And so I think already knowing when Torres is going to be, and when Pergande's is wants his to be, and that he's honored us with, wanting to make sure that it's with us, for his first couple, maybe first few, is awesome, for Aries. But those two right there have got to be, the most anticipated in our region as far as guys that we deal with and have watched, from day one. Torres, like you said, we already know what his selling power is. Alex, not necessarily. Alex does really well ticket-wise as far as his local following in Nashville. But the thing is, we always have to keep and remember is, he's an international kind of family. His mother and father coming from overseas. I think where his anticipation comes from is the talks and looks that his management team has already gotten about him, and pro debuts that he's turned down because he's being smart about his career and not wanting to just take I'm just going to throw a name out, a Titan fight or an LFA fight, if the matchup isn't right, or if someone's trying to, ask him to step into a fight that maybe he shouldn't. He's smart about it. But I think knowing that kind of clamor is out there to get him on a bigger show already makes it a much anticipated debut. And I don't envy you trying to find that professional debut.
No, that'll be tough
for him, Tim. But those two right there for me, hands down.
Greg.
Well, thank you. Pergande, those are my two that I was picking. But I guess if we're going to start digging a little deeper, if Chance Gilbride decides to resurface, I anticipate him making that pro debut, because you put somebody in front of him, it doesn't matter what the credentials are of that other guy, Chance is coming. I guess another one that may another two, Breven Sullivan, maybe making that jump from amateur to at some point in time next year. I can see Andrew Sturtman, making that jump. One guy that we haven't spoke about is Jalen Harper. He fought 4 times this year in 2021. He fought 4 times. I look for him to fight 4 more times next year. And if he can go 4-0, I can see him making a breakout year. You know, and I mean, I'm sorry not for turning pro, but I should have mentioned it in the last one. But with that being said, as far as pros, I mean, there's your Pergande, your Feeney. Other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't. Other than that, I don't see unless we have a real big sleeper. I don't know. Emilio, if he decides to make the pro jump, I don't know if he decides that to make that day. It might be early for him. He might not. I don't know. That's
Justin.
Yeah, I've got a couple too. I've got Andrew Sturtman. You know, it's a guy that's been around for a long time. It was super active for a while. It seems like we haven't seen a ton of him lately. You know, he's had some issues with his gym, switching up camps and all that stuff. But now being with the Gogi, I like to see Andrew come back and make a pro run. You know, that kid's always game, always tough. He's coming 100 miles an hour. He's technical, and he doesn't back down for anything. He's super marketable. I think it's somebody that could really go a long ways with the right coaches, and I think he's got those now. Let me think. Another one I think is Dustin Bailey. I think we'll probably see Dustin go pro next year if he gets through this next fight, defends his title one time. I mean, it's going to be hard to find much competition for him as an amateur. You know, I think his best bet would be to try to find the toughest out there as an amateur before going pro. But I think his time as an amateur is dwindling fast.
Yeah, I'd agree. Same with the Samaj Portis, someone like that. I mean, there's a few of those guys out there that are just right on the cusp, but I'm really excited to see how they make that transition to the pro ranks. Let's see here. We just got a few more to go, guys. Who is someone out there that people need to be aware of in 2022 that may have we'll call it a little bit of a landmine, of a record where the record doesn't look that great, but they're trending upward, and you got to watch out for them because if you just go by their record, you could be in trouble. Justin, I'll reverse this time and let you go first. Who's someone out there that you can't necessarily just go by the numbers with this guy coming into or girl going into 2022?
On the pro side, I'm going with Mike Wilson.
I like it.
Mike Wilson started out, I think, upside down. He had a win over Garrett Sharp. He lost to his losses have been tough too, though. Moon Cosme. He's super tough coming out of the independent MMA with Doug Usher. And he's got a fight coming up in Macon for that co-pro card. So looking forward to seeing that one. And then as an amateur, I think Josiah Newton, he had one fight, took a fight against the brown belt in his amateur debut, walked through that guy. In his next fight, he fought for a title against 4-0, 5-0 Samaj Portis. Didn't go his way, but now he's sitting at 1-1. But man, he's a very, very deceptive 1-1. He would take out a lot of pro level guys right now. So looking forward to seeing him come back next year and really shows people what he's got.
I like both of those a lot. Greg.
I gotta go with some deceitfulness on the amateur side of things. I want to look at some Dalton Smith. We got to see him. We got to see him in Primal Combat, and I believe he's 1-2 now. We got to see him lose to George Lowe. Was it? What was his name? Yeah, he lost to George Lowe. And he also lost to Nick Martino on his debut. But I know he's looking to resurface next year in 2022, and he's been putting in some serious work and effort on his trade. And on the pro side of things, I hope I'm not stealing one from anybody up here at all. But David Lewis was my pick. He keeps having fights that fall through and just fall off. And if he can stay healthy, I think his record might be 2-3.
Yeah.
With 2-3 though, but I mean, Tim may tell you, if you try to match up David Lewis with somebody, there's not a lot of guys that are out there looking to fight a 2-3 named David Lewis because he is a very dangerous fighter. He's got he's got a win over a UFC, current UFC fighter under his belt too. He's one of those guys around here that people are not looking to fight at 2-3, but I think we're going to get him this year. I think we're going to get him a couple matchups on Aries and have him on there.
Jeff, what you got?
My deceptive fighter. We've already addressed him as being deceptive and kind of already talked about this throughout the year, but now with his latest loss, I think it's going to put him right back in that deception range as Josh Delgadillo. When we saw him first come down, he's 2-3 upside down. He makes the shocking win at the Underground. Goes on, 2-fight little win streak before then he fights Emilio Hernandez. Puts him right back at 4-4, just a 500 record. I think that's going to be it's going to sneak up on some people. They just look at that 500 record and think they know what they're getting. But if you look at his losses, his 4 losses are against guys that all have winning records. You're talking 3-1, 5-1, 3-0. I mean, those are his losses right there. So I think if nobody does their homework and just looks at their record, Josh Delgadillo could sneak up on a lot of people again and go on another run.
I like that one a lot too. I'm going to go with Alex Riggs. Shield Systems, his record's upside down right now. He's getting ready to fight Andrew Havener in the co-main event for Aries 3 here next week. And this is a guy that, if you look at his record, you see some blemishes, but if you watch him in the cage, then you see the improvement. You see that he is leveling up with that Shield Systems team behind him, and that's a guy that if you sleep on him right now, I think that you would be sorry to do so. I don't think Andrew Havener will be doing that. I think he'll be preparing, to the utmost for this one. That's why I'm really excited for this fight. For the amateurs, I'm going to go with my man Dustin Garrett. He's a guy he's right at 500. You look at this level of competition, and he don't turn down nothing but his collar, man. He fights whoever you put in front of him, no matter how big and scary they are, including Emilio Hernandez, who we've talked about, who nobody wanted to step up to in his amateur debut. So Dustin's a guy that he's right at 500, but if you don't come correct against him, he will sub your ass, and he always is in shape. He's good to go the distance. So Dustin Garrett's who I'm going to give that Decepticon record to. 2 more on the docket, guys. What are some of the dream matches that you guys can come up with for 2022? What are some of the fights that maybe we've talked about it a little bit and said that this would be good, and it just hasn't come to fruition yet for whatever reason, but are fights that you really want to see in 2022? For me, I'll kick us off here, and I'm going to say from the amateur side of things, no matter who wins this 170 title fight, I think I got to see Samaj Portis fight the winner of that. I think that's one that I really want to see. And secondly, a fight that had been kicked around a little bit on, even if it doesn't happen for us, but a fight that had been kicked around a little bit by Tyler Edwards for Primal Combat was that Chance Gilbride and Emilio Hernandez fight, which hasn't happened still. But it excited me to think about it happening when we were talking about it. So maybe that's something that we could revisit next year. Jeff, any bright ideas?
Yeah, pretty much for me, everything. I've got quite a few, but everything for me in 2022 is the bantamweight division.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yes, there's so many different ways that we could, work this, spin this, round robin it, tournament style it, whichever way you want to look at it, man. But you look at the names that we've got, and I know we're already talking about some, coming up, but we've talked so much about Breven Sullivan already. Breven versus Kutu.
That's a great fight,
dude. I think those two right now, after Ku's win at this last Underground, and how just crazy that one was, the trajectory that Breven's on. Breven Sullivan, Kutu, somebody I'm still so high on, and I know you guys were too when you watched him, especially you wrestling guys, Greg Hopkins, was Nick King. With that just grinding, just true amateur wrestling style of his. We've been dying to get him back in the cage, but he went to some further education in school. But I talked to him the other day. He's going to be ready to come back now after EMT school's over, first of the year. And then you add Emilio Hernandez, who just got the Aries title, the introduction possibly of Gilbride. I mean, you've got 5 guys right there in that division that could keep us in awe for half a year, if not to 3/4 of the year. Just like I said, round robin and fighting each other. So the bantamweight division, to me, has the most dream matchups, exciting matchups that we could look for.
Not to mention guys like Cody Noel. Is also in the mix. Joel Winters. It is a deep division.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got some guys that you know, maybe not 135 is not necessarily their preferred weight class, but you do have an Alstein who jumps in every once in a while at 35. So you've got a couple of potential 25ers who don't mind dipping their toe in the 35 pound division that could really make it interesting with their speed and background. Alstein being one of those guys, man, with his grinding style, throwing him in there at 135 if he wanted to would be crazy. And then, 55 always seems to be a division for us that has the potential of having some really good, matchups. Again, with the introduction now of, Pergande in that division. We never know what's, going to be around the corner for Alexander if he's going to stick around for one more.
Demir is at
Demir
155.
is chomping at the bit to get back in there. Greg brought up Cisse earlier. He's having some success right now in bare knuckle, but he's been staying in contact. Don't let the MMA world forget about me. I won in. I won in on an Aries card.
Remember Cisse's a grappler.
Yes, and the thing is, Cisse is called out every 55er already that I've already mentioned that he has no problem fighting any of those guys. So that can continue to be, another division. Logan Neal, I know he steps into a 45. I don't know if that's where he wants to stay. I don't know if that kills his body too much, but don't let his record. It goes back to that last question about their records. He decides he's going to stay in 55. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be a force to reckon with. So again, handful of guys at bantamweight and lightweight. There's a bunch of matchups there that I just called out that would all be dream matchups. And let's just not forget, we're actually getting in 1 week probably every one of y'all's dream matchup. Week 1 of 2022, we're getting one of them in fucking like 7 or 8 days that I'm sure would have been on anybody's list 2 months ago, but none of us probably would have thought it would have happened, and we get to see it in about a week.
Yeah, that's a real good one, man. I think that if we were doing this show last year, then I probably would have come up with that one. So I'm definitely happy with that. Justin, what's some fights? You sit there, you judge these fights, you see a lot of guys. Any matchups cross your mind that would be enticing?
Yeah, man, I threw a couple down. Like Jeff said, at bantamweight, I was going to say the same thing. You could throw Vincent in there with any of those guys that you mentioned, and it'd be a hell of a fight. Even though he's outsized, but there's just so many fun fights there. The one that I wrote down for amateurs at 135, I put down Cody Noel and Breven Sullivan. Cody Noel right now is coming off of surgery. Sullivan's, what is he, 3-0, 2-0, 3-0?
He's 2-0. Yeah.
2-0. Cody's 1-1. The one loss that he had was a hell of a fight. So I'd love to see that one. Bryce Warner and Vincent Van Osten would be a hell of a fight. Another one that I would like to see is I'd like to see Bud Cook come back and fight a guy that I've been training with and getting a little work in with, Frank Van Osten, Vincent's dad.
Oh, nice.
Vincent's dad, get in there and
like old Frank.
Yeah, get him some work. Him and Bud Cook, I think that'd be a great matchup. And then on the pro side, man, another one that I just feel like would be a hell of a fight. Have no idea which way it would go is Logan Neal and Pat Crumpton at 45. If both those guys are going to make that their home, I think that's a hell of a fight. It's one that everybody would be on their toes the whole time.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Even at 55, both guys have done plenty of 55. I think that'd be good. Greg, what do you desire to see?
Y'all have basically talked about everything that I want to talk about. I'm excited to see any Finney matchup in 2022. Any fight that I'm in 2022 is I'm going to be biased. I'm going to be excited about, but I am wanting to see Lindsey Jones come up into the Aries rankings. I want to see some of these guys after we go down there to Macon and get to kind of mix up. I want to see some of these guys, make the trip up to Chattanooga or make the trip up to Knoxville or Nashville, wherever it be. I seen Kobe Wall was active not long ago. He's got to get in the graces of Aries too. Charlie versus Cisse is one that I do want to see in 2022, and I want to see it like the summer. That's when I want to see that one. The dream one, regardless winner or loser of the David and Trevor, I would like to see Demir and Trevor that would be a slam. I mean,
It'd be awesome.
Anybody, but I'm jumping here from middleweight and welterweight. I know we touched on the bantamweights and the lightweight. So and Logan Neal's stock is high enough now. Everybody knows him in the area. No matter who you match up with him, it don't matter what the record. He's gonna be a product. People are gonna want to watch Logan Neal.
Well, we had put together that Mike Wilson and Logan Neal fight before Mike got hurt. That's still a fight I think that people would want to see.
Yeah, so there's and there ain't nobody that's not wanting to fight Logan Neal right now because he's got an abundance of people wanting to fight him. So that's what I'm saying. He's a well-known character. He's been on Bellator stage. He's wanting to get back there. But that DJ Bowdy and Charlie fight's got me a little bit something special right there. And like I said, anybody though, Regine Forrest, I want to see him come back. Get him back in the regional scene. I know he went to LFA and got him some good dub out there. So let's see him come back to the surface over here in Tennessee. Hell, I'd like to see a Robert Hale come up here and fight out of Atlanta. I'd like to see a lot of these guys, start gracing us with their presence, start putting their name out there. If you're wanting to make that step, this is where you're going to do it right here in the areas in these mountains. I want to see CK Mattress come back. I want to see him come back. This fight with Tristan and Zane coming up here. This is kind of being
the winner versus Mattress would be really good. Yeah.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. We got David and Trevor coming up next week, but talk about the next card. We got we're talking about Deceitful, dude. Look at that card. It's smashing. But all these guys, there's so many matchups, and there's such a dig. We're not going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel anymore for matchups. These are going to be great. It's going to happen.
Tim, hey. Man, just because it hit me and I don't want to forget it.
Yeah.
Going back to, possible breakout type guy. Who was my man from National MMA that fought at heavyweight but wants to go to 205, should naturally be at 205?
Yes.
Finn Martin.
Finn
Martin. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Holy
breakout
shit.
Star. That's the one to watch out for.
That
sure,
dude's got
in
that Brock
2022.
Lesnar looking dude's got some potential right there.
That's a blue chipper.
Yes.
That's one that definitely deserves a mention here. And I want to throw one more in here on a deceptive record for a pro, and that's the 2-5 Corey Delaney. Corey Delaney is a very deceptive guy at 2-5. He'll beat his fair share of dudes if you don't come prepared for Mr. Delaney. Last topic, guys. And this one, this is a pretty fun one. Who are the guys that realistically you guys can see getting a big show call up from our region in 2022? Before the end of 2022, who are the guys that we will see in the UFC or Bellator? Who's going to get signed? I'm going to, I've got a few out there. The low hanging fruit I think is this main event next week. The winner of David Robbins, Trevor Peak should certainly get a look. Obviously Damir Fatmagovic is a guy that he's very tough to match in this region, but just an absolute killer, next level talent, comes from a great gym, and has already had some low key offers to step in there and get some of that UFC action, just super short notice. So I think if he's able to, kind of get his name out there a little bit more this year, he's a guy that honestly I could see beating plenty of guys at 155 in the UFC. I'll give y'all one more here, and I'm going to go with my man Yamamoto, Doug Usher. Surely this is the year. Ranked, man, I'm not sure exactly where he's ranked, but he's ranked I believe in the top 5 in the nation of unsigned middleweights. He just signed with Dominance Management, which is Khabib's. That's Big Boy Management. I'm going to say Yamamoto Doug Usher finally gets his shot this year and gives us a Chris Curtis performance. Very reminiscent of a Chris Curtis, guy that has toiled away here on the regionals for way too long, well past when he's been ready to be called up to that next level. And when Chris Curtis finally got that call, he really has, has really made the most of it. So those are mine. Jeff next.
Yeah, I think we could have just went around the horn and each done one and then done another lap through.
Yeah.
With all those same guys. Like you said, Damir, I think low key is we know he's had a couple of offers that he's passed on because he just didn't feel they were right or the right timing. So you can't leave him off the list because they've already been there.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about C4. I know talking to his management,
Right on the
what they're looking for is possibly that June opening at the Contender Series. The only thing with him is he's got a child coming, and he said, I don't necessarily want to wait till June. So that's where we might have the potential to see him one more time. And like Greg said, I think the Cisse fight would be great as a way out of the regional scene. So Demir, Charlie, again, it's counting our chickens before they hatch, but things go the way they do. Torres could find his way in that conversation, very quickly. But I think Demir and Charlie are two of kind of the, like you said, like you call the low-hanging fruit in our region. But I think there's some that could quickly make that jump from the first of 22 to the end of 22 and be right there in the same discussion.
Yeah, I think so as well. Greg, who's out there that is going to get that call up this year?
Like you guys said, winner of next week, definitely going to get some attention. David's already been on the radar. Trevor picks up that dub. Definitely on the radar at that point in time. If he can pick up another win, like you said, Trevor doesn't take weak fights, so it's not like he's going to go fight David Robbins and then go back and fight nobody. So I look forward to both of those guys and what they do beyond that. Charlie, Charlie's got the look, he's got the attitude. Charlie Alexander, I'm not just piggybacking off you guys. These are the ones that I had written down. I have Charlie. I'm trying to think of who else that I was thinking of. It's not in our area, but down there, Juan Puerta down there has already had his chance on. I think that he'll make his UFC debut eventually here.
Some may call him Juan.
Juan Puerta. But I think Juan. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to make it, dude. I think he's going to get that call up finally. But dude, I mean, the guy's got over 30 fights, and I think it's his time to actually get that call up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we could get him up here on the card, get him fight one of our 125s. And, I mean, why not? So other than that, Demir deserves a shot. Charlie, like he said in his last fight, I'm not begging. I'm here, but I'm not begging. I like that approach. Actually, I like it a lot. Like, it's basically saying, what, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Either way, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. But those two guys, and Pregande, if he can make a stupid highlight reel of fights in this first year, I mean, who's to say? I mean, and we're not just talking about UFC and Bellator. You have one championship. You have in England, in Europe, you have
Cage Warriors.
Mm-hmm. You have a bunch of bigger world stages that we can get on over here. That a lot of these guys are now getting management, and they're getting noticed, and they're getting fights in our area alone too. Just in the Southeast region right here, a lot of guys are getting those call ups, and believe it or not, a lot of these guys are getting some dubs too, and they're getting winning. We're getting noticed around here. I know I've got denied a few times from Bellator, so they know that I don't suck. At least I don't suck. So
you don't suck quite to the level that they're looking for you to suck.
But a lot of these guys we've been talking about, guys. I mean, they've already gotten those calls, even from the Titans, the LFAs.
I've gotten calls. I just haven't.
Right.
I mean, it's just
so. I mean, those calls have already come. But real quick, before we go to Justin, when Greg's talking about promotions, how big will Eagle FC be, guys? Is that going to end up just instantly because of name recognition? Will that be a quote unquote big boy quickly?
Yep.
It certainly gives them a leg up, I think. Have they announced any sort of broadcast deal yet?
I haven't seen broadcast other than just seeing the fights,
Yeah.
And again, we're kind of piggybacking off maybe some of the older UFC guys, other than Kevin Lee. I think he's still, in a good part of his prime, but, Diego Sanchez, people like that. But
the fact that they're bringing the 165 super lightweight title into play is the key killer right there that Dana White won't do.
Yeah.
Because the weight cut for him, he knows like 70 to 55 is a killer cut, so that right there is going to sell a lot of people and want him fighting in that, because I can bet a 55 champion, a 65 champion, and a 70 champion. You're going to have so many people fighting for that era right there.
And it just creates so many more matchups that you can do by kind of meeting in the middle there, and you're going to have more guys that are willing to take those matchups when you're able to put some sort of title contendership on the line. You're able to make just a lot more fun matchups when you can kind of blur the lines between lightweight and welterweight, I think.
Right.
Before I go to Justin, I got two more guys I want to throw out there, possible call-ups. Carolina boys. You mentioned him earlier. Kobe Wall's a guy that I think with a little bit of some momentum. He hasn't fought in a few years now, but he's got a good look. He's got good management. He's a guy that I could see getting at the very least maybe a contender spot. With some momentum, and then I gotta go with our boy Weston Wilson. We keep forgetting West is 12-6 over there. That's a big record, man, and he's got Iridium management. He's got the right guys behind him. That's another guy that he makes 145. He's a tall drink of water at 145. So that's another guy that I got to say is on the radar. Justin, round us out. Final take.
Man, everybody's already said everything.
Y'all took everybody.
Yeah, y'all got everybody. I will throw out, man, now I'm going to draw a blank because I just...
Describe him to us.
What
does he look like? What do you look like?
He's short and mean, and he just took the crown of the Valor Underground.
Short. I mean, Kutu?
No.
The Pat?
He took the crown at the Underground.
Oh, Ortiz.
Yeah, Dustin Ortiz.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll see Dustin Ortiz. I mean, he's in a decently... I wouldn't call Brave one of the top promotions. So I think you see him make his way back over to the UFC.
Brave's tough, man.
They're tough, but I wouldn't say that they're...
Yeah. I mean, he had to tell his first outing didn't go so well over there just because of the level of competition. But that's all going to be, relevant to whether or not Dustin Ortiz wants to stick around. I know after that fight, he loved the fight. He enjoyed the experience. But I think that fight, without putting too much of his business out there, I think he questioned a lot of his future after that fight on, is this, what I want to continue doing? Somebody joked earlier about bull riding. Dustin Ortiz is really hardcore into bull riding now.
Oh, wow.
Like, if nobody follows him on social media, he has gone hardcore over the last year or so into bull riding and has competed in it, and he thinks that may be the next one. But you know what, Greg, your guy that you brought up, Juan, depending on where you're from, man, what about Juan and the guy Ortiz fought, though? That dude was tough. Tolbert. Dylan Tolbert, man. I would like to see that guy come back down. Because that guy,
put up a real good fight.
You want to talk about deceiving records? That's a tough kid, man, who's fought tough competition. I think would be a tough fight for a lot of 125ers.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that would be very much in the conversation of deceptive records out there, as far as guys that can sneak up on you.
Real quick, just for talk or whatnot. I know we're going over our hour right now, but we were talking last week after the.
We have no rules, Greg.
Sorry,
we got no rules.
We were talking last week. 2020. We would say that Khamzat, was the newcomer of the year of the UFC. Who would y'all say that 2021's newcomer of the year in the UFC would be? Just I know it's a spitball off the top of your head. I know there's a bunch of them, but
let Justin go first because we keep leaving him for
Justin,
go first. So we don't take it. So we don't take his answers.
Instead of taking all my answers, just put me on the spot.
You're right.
Same thing. Now you got no answers.
Now we get to think.
Yeah. I'm going to take Chris Curtis. Coming in as a big underdog in both of his fights.
Hey, I can dig it.
Big finishes. That's a guy that I could see breaking out. He's a mature guy. He's been on the scene for a really long time before making that debut. So, I like that one.
Greg?
Shit, he threw a curveball. I wasn't expecting that Chris Curtis.
I like that, though.
I do, too. It's really good. I know there's a bunch to mention, and I'm only going to mention one, though. I got to go, and I'm going to steal him from you. I mean, Michael Chandler, of course, has been on the scene for a long time, but he did make his UFC debut this year, and he's done a lot. There's one more that I want to mention, but I mentioned my one, and I don't want to steal you guys, so y'all go ahead.
Michael Chandler's a good one. Jeff, go ahead.
Man, I can't think of her name because I just drew a blank, but the chick, man, she oh man, damn it!
Miranda Maverick.
Yeah, she beat
Erin
Barber.
Blanchfield.
No, the Muay Thai chick, man. Damn, what was her name? She just made evented not too long ago. Shit balls, man.
You fought Macy Barber?
Yeah, I think so.
I should be able to tell you fairly quickly. Then
I'll come back to it. I'll find her. I got Tapology pulled up over here.
Let's see. It looks like Macy Barber fought Miranda Maverick. Alexa Grasso was our last two. So I don't know if it'd be either of those. For me, I I've got to go with the oh man, he's a Polish fellow, and he beat Holtzman. That's what kind of put him on my my radar. But man, I'm pulling his name up here right now because it's
Well,
a little tougher to pronounce.
I'll throw an honorable mention out there while
Matush
you guys
Gamrot.
are.
Matush Gamrot. That's who
Gamrot,
I'm saying.
Gamrot,
Matush
yeah, he's
Gamrot.
tough.
Gamrot's really good, and he's only lost I think one time, so he's a tough one. Who you got, Greg?
I just an honorable mention while Jeff's pulling his leg there. Patty Pimbleton, man, he's only got one fight, almost got beat, but he finished with a KO in the first round. I think he's made an impact in 2021 so far. But he's not nowhere near the Michael Chandler or Chris Curtis, you know what I'm saying, or Gamrot for that matter. But he has made his presence known in 2021. I could see him, definitely talking on the mic and getting some fans and some haters too in 2022.
Yeah, he's definitely a brash one that is kind of trying to ride that Connor wave. So we'll see if he's able to deliver the goods or not. That's a whole nother.
Was he Cage Warriors before he came over?
Yeah, he was Cage Warrior staple. It just seems like a lot of those guys out of that SBG team over there, it's starting to fade a little bit. You know, I guess he obviously is one of their rising stars, but it's like, you know, we saw the one girl go against Cyborg here pretty recently, and that didn't go well for her. Obviously, it's Cyborg, but James Gallagher is a guy that they thought they were going to kind of put a rocket on and get him blasting off, and it just seems like the SBG Ireland crew is just not
blasting off.
It doesn't have it. It doesn't seem like they got it like they used to anyway. Jeff, you figure out who the hell you're trying to find?
You're muted.
Yeah, chick that fought Mackenzie Dern, Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, Marina
yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
She is good.
Yes, she is. I think she's gonna be a breakout star.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I like that. I like that a whole lot. Well, guys, I think we've got. Is there anything we haven't touched on? I feel like we've kind of
we've
ran
molested
the gamut here.
We've molested it.
We've blasted our full. Yeah, we've touched on everything, and we're wrapping up 2021 here.
We've caressed it. We've touched
it all.
We've touched it all.
Hey, thank you guys for hanging out there with us. We're about to go into a big 2022, and we just keep growing this channel. We've got a pretty nice little loyal set of viewers out there for these 0 hour shows. So, shout out to all you guys. If we could get everyone to hit that like button for us, give us a subscribe, and throw us a comment in the comment section too. Let us know what you agree with. Who did we miss? Who did we not touch on that we should have talked about? Somebody. And next week we'll have a big show, man. Next week is going to be the Aries 3 breakdown, preview, prognostications, if you will, and we're going to also, in theory, have our odds ready from Action 24/7, so we can kind of integrate the odds for that for those pro fights into our discussion. Make sure you go to Action 24/7, use your promo code Aries so you can get that 100% match bonus on your initial deposit at $800, and you'll get the opportunity to bet on these fights next week. They'll also have a free play game. I don't know if it's up yet. We'll talk about that next week, but you can go through and pick the amateur fights and have a chance to win a free bet too. So lots of fun things going on over there at Action 24/7. Aries 3 coming up next weekend. That's going to be from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. You can get your tickets while they last at fightertix.com. Tables are gone. Don't even ask. And we've got a pay-per-view for you guys. What's that?
Aries 4, man. We started announcing bouts today.
That's right. Aries 4 coming up right after that. Yep. Also, the world famous Cotton Eye Joe, February 4th. Tickets also available at fightertix.com. We've got a bunch of title fights lined up for that one. Some big number one contender fights. We've got some female fights. Our first female fights will be on that card. So don't forget about Aries 4. That's going to be that's like the little brother to Aries 3 that's like kind of coming up on Aries 3 because it's like a really good card for an all amateur show. One of the ones I've been the most excited for in quite some time. So we'll be talking a lot about that, talking to the members of that card. We'll get Zane Burton on here. I'm sure Dustin Bailey, Richard Guerrero, all those guys will get them on here talking about their upcoming fights on that card. Now, the pay-per-view for Aries 3 will be at Spectation Sports. So you can catch the pay-per-view at Spectation Sports for Aries 3. Aries 4 will be on combatcast.tv. So we'll keep you guys updated on where you can catch all that action. Then you can come back here to 0 hour after just a few days of Aries Aries 4, and you can catch all the fights. And after 30 days of Aries 3, we'll have them here as well on the 0 Hour channel on YouTube. Also, one more to get out there, February the 19th, we've got our co-pro with our friends with Conflict and NFC down in Macon, and you can get your tickets at FreshTix.com. If there are any left over, that is, Torres Finney sold about half of them already, it sounds like. But that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to dive into a lot more in-depth talk about those shows in February after next week's breakdown. Make sure you check out the interviews also around here, guys. We're going to have one with Dreon Martin, one with Sam McAlpin coming up. I'm excited to talk to Sam because, Trevor's kind of comes from that AFC area down there and was without a doubt one of, their top guys down there, a guy that Sam, no secret, is good friends with. And so I'm excited to talk to him a little bit later and get his take on this big mega fight we got coming up next week. Gentlemen, thank you for sitting in on this one. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys out there in interwebs land. For Jeff Hobbs, Greg Hopkins, Justin Watson, I'm Tim Lloyd. We're signing off for another edition of the 0 Hour. Thanks for watching. Bye.